The Liver King has found himself in some legal trouble. 8772 Radio U. Allie, are you familiar with the Liver King?
Unfortunately.
The Liver King, a.k.a. Brian Johnson, which, can I say, I was so confused at first.
Okay.
Because the first headline I saw said, Liver King, Brian Johnson, arrested in Austin, Texas. And if you remember, Brian Johnson, very common name.
Yeah.
The most recent Brian Johnson I know of is that guy that's trying to live forever.
Oh,
that
yeah.
billionaire guy.
That guy's name's Brian Johnson, too.
Yeah, so I was like, why was the Liver King hanging out with that guy? But apparently Brian Johnson, also the real name of the Liver King. I was today years old when I found that out. But the Liver King, who has been caught up in controversy before, he's a influencer online who made his name like getting super big, like really muscly, and he would only eat like raw meat.
Yeah, really gross.
And some really nasty raw meat. Then it was exposed a few years ago that he was using steroids. Shocker, if you look at this guy.
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
Seriously, yeah.
This mountain of a man would be roiding.
Right.
But somehow he's still in the public eye. I wonder if he's still experiencing some kind of, I don't know, roid rage or the effects of some other substance, because he's just been arrested for threatening Joe Rogan in a series of Instagram posts where he is challenging Joe Rogan to a fight. And meanwhile, he's been traveling and actually wound up in Austin, Texas, which, by the way, that's where Joe Rogan's studios are, right?
Yeah, that's where he lives.
So, like, he was maybe actually seriously going to try to find Joe Rogan and fight him, even though Joe Rogan's like, I've never really interacted with this guy.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's very confused, but the police did contact Joe, and they were like, are these threats serious? Like, what's going on here? And it sounds like Joe was like, I think these threats are serious, but I don't know. Because, I mean, you have to kind of in some way take them seriously if this guy's traveling to where you live, because he kept saying in these videos, which are just like rambling, like just total nonsensical rambling, and he kept saying, I'm coming to you, Joe. It's like, what are you saying? But then he actually did. He went to Austin, Texas. Genuinely, I think he wanted to fight him. And he kept saying stuff like, I'll die for my family. I will die fighting for you. I want you to choke me out. Like, things like, what are you saying? Like, it was very, very strange. So it seems like a mental break. Like, you know what I mean? Like, something weird is happening.
How close? Because at first I saw this too, and I'm like, not that it's great that he's challenging Joe Rogan to a fight on Instagram, but can you be arrested for that? But then he was in Austin, Texas, where Joe Rogan often is, and I'm like, I guess how close do you have to be to somebody when you're challenging them to a fight before it becomes like realistic and you actually the police have to step in?
Yeah.
In this case, because also if this was just some random guy that didn't have 2.9 million Instagram followers, would he have been arrested? Would anybody have cared? Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not, but I'm sure the police were getting plenty of tips about this guy because these videos were getting some traction online.
And he seems so unhinged, the Liver King.
Yeah, I mean, he always seems unhinged, but these were particularly bad. And he just continually would be like, I want to challenge you. I'm going to fight you. I don't know jujitsu, but I'm going to take you on. And like all of this really crazy stuff. So, I mean, I have just even just some of the transcript trying to read it from some of these videos. I'm like, how does someone speak like this and make any sense? Like, it doesn't make any sense in my brain as I'm reading it out loud. And so I'm like, what did this even sound like to him as he's saying it, you know?
Yeah. Okay, last question. If they did fight, who would win?
Oh, I think Joe Rogan, probably. Because jiu-jitsu is kind of like the ultimate, right? You know?
Yeah,
he's
I was
a black
looking it up.
belt.
And I'm like, Joe Rogan, he's got some fighting skills, but I knew he was shorter. He's 5'8", so I mean about average, but like that's short for a fighter. But then I looked up the Liver King, and the Liver King's even shorter.
What? How tall is he?
I don't know if we have a definite, accurate, like confirmed height, but he's like 5'7" probably.
Okay.
Some are saying. So,
Okay.
I
Well,
don't know.
it sounded like the Liver King didn't think he was going to win either.
Yeah.
He kept saying, "I'll die for my family." So he thought Joe Rogan was going to kill him.
What exactly?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Joe Rogan probably would win.